Hi, I'm Mitch Shoemaker, and today is day 88 of my doing 100 days of YouTube videos and focusing on my writing. So, yay, I made it to day 88, and I'm ready to be done. I'm just ready to be done. No, I need to work on my stories and my books and my writing. I think it just means I have to deal with my emotional stuff. I was talking to a friend earlier, and she was like, "Can I just say what you're not saying?" And I said, you don't want to write stuff or you don't want to do stuff because you're wondering what the point is, because you just don't want to get hurt or because it hasn't worked out in the past. So why will it work out in the future? And those are all valid points, valid questions. So tonight, I attempted. I just opened up a Word document just to write something, and I just put, "Why am I struggling?" And I just came up with all kinds of snarky, sarcastic answers to all of my questions. And then I just started laughing, and I'm like, I am so not taking myself seriously right now. Um, but I did write a few things or type up a few things too, that were a little bit more serious. And mostly I think it's, I don't know. I'm trying to find the right words to say this. I think I have spent too much of my life living in some kind of fantasy world and picturing myself being somebody else, or different versions of myself. And I can, as long as I don't finish my stories, as long as I don't publish my books, then I can still be those different versions of myself. And other people don't get to see the other side of me. So it's kind of a safety net for me. So I think that's part of the reason why I get so close and then I don't want to finish, because I am afraid of getting hurt. I am afraid of putting myself out there. I am afraid of what the response is going to be. And I have no idea what the response is going to be. It could be really positive. It could be really good. It could be really negative. It could be a combination. It could take a really long time for people to even know that I put anything out there. So then everything would just stay exactly the way that it is. And I think there's that other part of me that thinks, okay, as soon as I do this, there's going to be like this big, huge, grandiose something different. Kind of like when I finished my 100 Days of Gratitude, and I was kind of expecting there to be something more, instead of like, okay, I've been doing this for 100 days and there's going to be like this huge aha something, it's going to be spectacular because I made it to 100 days. It's going to be this giant change. And instead it was like little baby changes. Like every single day I learned something, I did something, I developed things to be grateful for in my life. And it's kind of been the same with my writing. I haven't finished my book. I mean, I finished the Lanoya book, I revised it, I sent it off to a friend, and it's just sitting in limbo somewhere. I have not finished Recognizing God's Hand in My Life. I did start revising that. I have started working on another book about grieving with a friend of mine. Signed up for a class because I'm trying to work on myself, because in doing all of this writing, it's brought up a lot of emotional things. It has opened up, I don't want to say a can of worms, but I feel like I've opened up a volcano of old emotions and things. And I was like, I just been stirring the pot and pouring all this stuff in there. And I was like, and all this steam has been brewing and now it's coming up, but I'm surrounded in like this fog, this haze of all of these old emotions. And I realize that they're old emotions and they don't actually play a role in what's going on in my life currently. It's just that I think all of us have some kind of those default settings. We all have those survival modes, things that are set to protect us from ourselves. And a lot of times when things happen, especially traumatic things, our body remembers those. They hold on to them. Even if we don't remember the events, those emotions, those fears, they're there somehow because it's our body's way of protecting us. It's saying, hey, this was dangerous before. Let's be careful. Let's not get burnt again. It's like touching a hot stove. And it's like, you remember that it's hot, that it's going to burn you. And so I think I'm kind of, getting to a point in my life and in progress in my writing and all of these emotions and things where what I want to do in my life is stepping outside of my comfort zone. It's going out to where I could potentially get hurt. And because of all of the trauma and the things that have happened in my life, my instincts, my body is telling me all of this fog of emotion, old stuff is saying, we can't do this. This is dangerous. This is scary. This is not good. And then I have this a spirit inside of me. I'm sure it's from God. It's just pushing me and saying, but you can do this, and you love doing this, and this is exciting, and there's something new and adventurous on the other side. You just have to go through it. And I'm kind of I like that adventurous idea that I'm going through some adventure and there's something new and exciting on the other side. But I'm also kind of afraid that I'm setting myself up to be disappointed because I'm going to get to the other side and I'm still going to be me. Like, I'm going to get to the other side and it's going to be like I finished my 100 days of gratitude and I'm like, I did it. And that's it. You know, kind of like it's not the big ta-da, the big pizzazz, the big whatever. I mean, I will publish a book at some point and I will be very excited because I've accomplished that. But then what? I just get to keep writing more books, which I like doing and I enjoy doing. I get to learn how to market books. I get to learn how to, do thumbnails for YouTube videos. I get to continue to learn how to develop my talents and how to become better. So it's not like there's a finish line. It's like I did something. I'm like, yes, I did this. Cool. Now you get to do another one. And I'm like, what? And I know I have a whole series of books and I know I want to become, I want to be able to live off of my writing, be a published author and things like that. But it's just kind of interesting to realize that maybe some of my emotion is that I set myself up. I have these grandiose expectations, and I'm starting to realize that they're not necessarily going to be met. I mean, yes, I will probably get my books published. I will get my books published. I'm going to stop saying probably. I will figure out how to do that at some point, hopefully this year, because I really want to. And I know that I have people that are helping me and supporting me, and that it is definitely a doable goal. And a lot of the things that I want to do are definitely doable goals. Maybe not in the time frame that I want them to be done, but they can still be done, and I can still continue to work towards those goals. I don't have to give up on them just because I don't meet my deadline, because I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still working towards it, and things always take longer than I think that they will, which is fine. So I'm learning, I'm growing, I'm developing things, but I'm not going to magically change overnight. My life, my world isn't going to change overnight. I'm not going to become like a success, as far as financially successful writing books just because I publish a book. I may have to publish several books in order to even get noticed by the world that I've even published books. And I may never be like a big, huge, famous author, but I may be able to, make enough money to live off of. Or it may always just be a little side hobby where like, hey, I wrote all these things and I'm like, and I've reached like 50 people, maybe 100, and that's it. And maybe that's all I ever reach. And I've got like 100 people that follow me, 100 people that read my books. Or maybe it will be the 11 people that follow me on YouTube right now. And I'll have 11 people that read my books. I have no idea. And I have to remember that that's not the point. Yes, I am trying to write to other people. I'm trying to do these videos. And in doing these videos, I hope that it helps other people that are struggling and going through things. But I'm also realizing that I can't live in my fantasy world. I have to live in reality. And I can be all those other parts of myself. I can let myself be the characters I create in my head. I mean, not change my name and not do all the weird, crazy stuff that they do because I don't have all those abilities that they have in my head. But but I can speak up for myself. I can, express myself. I can not be afraid. I can be bold and courageous like the characters in my head. I can be the heroine in my own story, kind of a thing, instead of just the ones in my head. And but I also have to remember that, just because, maybe someday I'll lose the weight that I want to, or build a house, or do all the other things that I want to do, I'm still going to be me. I'm still going to struggle with old emotions. I'm still going to have new things in life to hit me that are going to be hard, because life is full of challenges and trials, and they don't just magically all go away. It's not like I'm going to wake up and be happy every single day. And I think I kind of get a little disappointed realizing that, because I want to just be, happy every single day. And I can choose to focus on things that I'm grateful for. And I am grateful that I can kind of see the difference between the old stuff and what's currently going on in my life. But sometimes the old stuff is just really overwhelming because there's a lot of it and it's just kind of overflowing. And I think every time I have an appointment with my counselor, which is good, it just kind of opens up all that stuff when we start like, pulling it out. And I'm like, cool, we pulled it all out and it didn't stop coming out just because the session ended. So it kind of takes a day or two to settle back down or to get the rest of the way out of my system. So that is something else too for me to work on, to recognize. And but I mean, I know it's okay. And just writing a little bit tonight just made me feel a little bit better. And then facing some things that I just don't want to face. Some new things I'm attempting to do. And just putting myself out there because I want opportunities in my life. I want different things in my life. But in order to have them, I have to be willing to put myself out there. I have to expose myself. And I mean in a good way, in a positive way, not like in a bad or a negative way. But I just have to, make other people aware that I exist. I have to be willing to let other people, new people into my life. I have to be open to new experiences, and I can't just like hide in my little corner and keep waiting for Prince Charming to somehow magically come find me. I may have to go find him. There may not be a Prince Charming. I don't know. So I got a little bold or a little bit crazy tonight, so I don't know that it counts as writing at all, but I also, on top of doing my little of that, which is why I'm still awake right now, I was actually looking up dating websites because I'm kind of a little bit nervous about the idea of having a future relationship, but if I ever want to have one, I have to put myself in a situation where I can meet people or allow, God to work the miracles for something to happen. And it doesn't happen if I don't put myself out there, make myself available. And it's the same with my books and my videos. If I don't put myself out there, if I don't make myself available, people will never know that I'm here. They won't know that I've written books if I don't put my books out there. If I don't publish my books, then they're just going to be sitting on my laptop and I'm like, well, I wrote this book. It's really cool. You're never going to read it. That's not how it works. In order for me to, for people to read the books, I have to publish them. I have to put them out there. I have to let go of my little control. And I'm trying and I'm working on it one day at a time. And I think I get frustrated because I'm not doing it as quickly as I would like to, or because I keep realizing that I'm the person that's standing in my way. But I'm trying to remember to be gentle with myself too, and that it is true that I have these old emotions, these old traumas in my life, and that my body, my emotions are responding in a way that they're trying to protect me from getting hurt, from putting myself in situations where I can be exposed to mocking or hurting or other things like that. But in the process of building these walls and these little protective things that are going up saying, danger, 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 there's that other side that's like, oh, exciting, exciting adventure. And there's also the realization that some of these walls, they have, it's like barbed wire and they prick on both sides, not just one. So if I go stand up too close to my own little barbed wire to see what's on the other side, I can get hurt too. So I need to take down my walls, or I need to build gates that I can actually go in and out of. I need to loosen up some of my boundaries a little bit so that I don't feel so trapped and stifled by my own inhibitions. So it's a process, and it's not a process that happens overnight. And it's something I think that has multiple layers, because I get to points where I'm like, I'm doing really good and I'm doing really well, and then I just kind of fall back again. And I'm realizing that maybe I'm not falling back, maybe I'm just falling down, and I can get back up because I can see the progress that I've made, and I can see that I'm still moving forward and that I'm still doing things, even though it doesn't always feel like I am. And I can see that it's just the old emotion, but there's a lot of it. There's, and every time I work through one, it's like, cool, I've worked through this, I've accomplished, like, this is awesome. And then there's another one, and I was like, oh, dang it. I keep getting frustrated because, oh, dang it, there's another one. But the more that I work through those little that pile gets smaller and smaller, and I don't have to keep adding to it. I can just let it continue to shrink until it doesn't take over. It doesn't like take days or weeks or months to work through. It could just be like, and it's just a few moments, and I'm willing to face it. I'm willing to deal with it. And I was like, all right, let's go. But for right now, I'm still struggling, but I'm becoming more willing to face my emotions, to face and figure out what's going on with me, and to share it with other people. And I have people in my life that are checking up on me and saying, hey, how are you doing? What's going on? And, I've got a friend that wants to go to dinner tonight just to be like, hey, just because we haven't hung out for a while, just check in. What's going on? How you doing? That sort of a thing. So I'm grateful that I have that in my life, and that reminder that I have people to talk to. And of course I have like my church leaders and my counselor, and I have these videos that help me. And when I choose to journal, that really helps me as well. And oddly, so does my writing. But again, as much as I like my writing, it is a part of me, and it is hard to let that part go. And I can't just get rid of that in the back of my mind that I'm typing up this story to share with other people. And so I'll get so far and I'll be like, I'm not ready to share this with other people. So then I don't want to write it. So I need to remember, I'm like, I don't have to share it right away. I could just write it and then see what happens when I'm done. But I'm just like, not because if I don't write it, then I don't have to share it. And I think I do that a lot of times. Like if I don't write it, then I don't have to face it. Or if I don't face it, then it's not real and it doesn't have to happen. And it's that denial. And I think denial can be a good thing to help us to deal with stuff, to put off stuff until we're ready. So it would kind of like that shock absorber, like we're like in shock, like when a death happens or a divorce or an accident or something that we're not ready for. We go into shock. It's a shock absorber. That's what denial is. And eventually that denial is supposed to kind of, go away. Reality is supposed to slowly kick in, and it allows us time to process everything. Well, my problem is I get frozen or stuck in the denial state, like nothing else happened. But life continues to happen, and it did happen, and it can't be undone. It can't be stopped. But I still feel like that denial state. And it's like, okay, I need to remove the denial so that I can move forward. Because, and I realize that if I write my books, if I share my story, that I put it out there, there's no more barriers. There's no more protective wall. There's no more denial. There's no more whatever. It's just out there. I no longer have any control, real or imagined control over any of it. It's just kind of like, and it's out there, and I have to be okay with it. And I have to be okay with other people either being okay or not being okay with it. And I have to be okay with knowing that not everyone is going to agree with what I write, or like what I write, or like what I do, or like what I have to say. And in order to do that, I have to be okay with myself, and I have to be okay with the story that I'm sharing and that I'm telling. And some days I really am okay with all of that. On other days, I'm like, I'm not so sure how I feel about this. And I worry too much about what other people think, and I forget that it's not about what they think. It's about sharing my story. It's about hoping that something that I say will uplift or help someone else. Or that what I'm sharing will entertain someone else, because it's entertained me for years, so it may as well entertain someone else too, We can share in the entertainment and the crazy in my brain, People might actually like some of the stories I have to tell. And I've shared bits and pieces of my stories with people, and they seem to enjoy it, most of them. Not everyone, but not everyone has the same taste or interest, and that's okay. So it's just, I'm having one of those days where it's like, okay, struggling, and then I do a little bit of writing, and I put myself out there on a website, and I'm just like, I'm crazy. I can't believe I'm doing this. But then I feel more peace. I feel lighter. I feel like a chunk of that old stuff is starting to dissipate. It's starting to, clear up. Not that I can see a whole lot through all the fog of all that stuff, but, but it clears up a little bit. I feel a little bit lighter. I let go of a little bit of something, and I'm just trusting that God is going to take care of me and whatever I choose to put out there. But if I don't put it out there, then God can't work the miracle through me, I can't share. I mean, I can't share with other people. I can't help other people, and it can't help me if I just hold on to it, because it's hurting me, and it's preventing other people from getting to know me, as well as getting to know myself. So, and I know I've had this realization multiple times, and I will probably have to have it multiple more times because, as I said, I have this really good blanket of denial. And I just kind of like to hide behind it, get buried in it, and not see things very clearly. And I do have a lot of old trauma that will get triggered and pop up and be like, oh no, we have to protect you. Don't worry, Midge, we're protecting you. It's okay. You just can't leave. You can't go out. You can't share this. It's just not safe right now. And even though I know it's safe, I know it's old stuff and it's safe to do the stuff that I want to do, it's hard to push through that emotion. It's hard to separate what's past and what's present. It's hard to remind myself or to show myself that it's okay. And the only way to do it is to just move forward and be like, look, it's okay. It's not hurting me. I can still do this. It's okay. And the more I do it and the more I can prove that it's okay, the less power that old emotion has, to the point where it's like, oh, okay, this is okay. So maybe that was just, in the past, and now in the future it's okay. So I'm trying to push past the old stuff and be like, I can do this. And I'm just hoping and praying that it turns out good, so that I don't go running and hiding under, my denial blanket and, bury myself, barricade myself, all of those walls that I put up, and be like, all right, I put myself out there and I got hurt again and I'm never doing it again. I'm like, I will just stay stuck for the rest of my life, and that would be miserable, and I don't want to stay stuck for the rest of my life, and I know that God doesn't want me to stay stuck for the rest of my life, and He doesn't want any of you watching these videos to be stuck for the rest of your life. So that is why there is a Savior. That is why there's atonement. That is why I know that there's a way up, there's a way out, there is hope through our Savior Jesus Christ. And I am grateful that I know that. I am grateful that I can apply that in my life, and that things can get better, that hope can rise above everything. And through all of this, there is that beacon of light, to show me the way, to know that it's okay. And I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for the people in my life that remind me of that when I get bogged down and forget, or just am not willing to see. And so I am grateful for that, and I think this is a good way for me to end my day. And I am going to get some sleep because I'm really tired. So anyway, that's all I have for today. So I hope you have. Oh, and if you like these videos, you can hit like, subscribe, or share with someone else if you think they will like them too. And I hope you have a great day full of gratitude and maybe some writing.